Oh, what do you hear? What do you say? Welcome to a wonderful edition here of ETF2L's fine season. It's Essentials TF, and we're still bringing you the coverage of this wonderful ETF2L season. I'm starting things off with a nice Sopranos meme because it's going to be the Sopranos versus MANDEM tonight, and your two casters are going to be Turbo Tabs right here. We've got Cerny on the co-cast as well, and Ben PL is going to be doing our lovely production. Cerny, you tell me you've
Hello.
never watched The Sopranos, the TV, nor the. But what about the team?
I mean, I actually haven't seen the team play either, and haven't looked at the couple of matches they've played so far this season. They've had a bit of a rough patch. I mean, to be fair, right? I don't think most people would have considered them to be a top contender. There's a lot of, let's say, inexperienced Prem talent here. Sure, some of these players have had maybe a Prem season under their belt, or, they play lobbies or mixes or pugs or whatever, but like for the most part in this permutation, these players haven't played Prem together before, right? And they also went up against the stronger teams in the start of the season, and now they're going up against MANDEM, which, to be fair, this is technically a week 6 match, but either way, they're going up against arguably the best team in Prem. So the rough patch continues for them for now. Perhaps we'll see an upset. Maybe they'll get a map. I guess that would be crazy. The only team to get anything off of them. But yeah, realistically, right, they're obviously going to be the underdog team headed into this. And it might just be a very quick match if MANDEM plays the way they did against Maggots and against pretty much everybody else so far.
Yes, I know a lot of people are already betting their channel points or, betting it all on the MANDEM right now. But I need you to remind you, we need to take a kind of flick back through history, Cerny. And there's been a long legacy of teams that come last or don't do too well in the season, but then they have these Hail Mary matches against these top dogs, your Sevens, your Witnesses, your Epsilons, all of that, and they just end up slipping a map or slipping a performance here and there because they get a bit too cocky and they underestimate their opponents, and maybe they're playing a bit loosey-goosey, and then suddenly you're playing a game of Team Fortress 2 and it runs away a little bit from you. This could happen tonight. Usually there's a Polish member on the team that ends up being the one that's kind of punching up, but they dropped out. So I think Sopranos are our next possible bet. I mean, Italy's close to Poland, right?
Yeah, kind of ish, I guess. Yeah, I do wonder what the reasoning behind the choice behind that team name is, because is there even a single Italian player on the team? No, there is not.
Maybe they're just recommending everybody a wonderful TV show to watch.
Maybe that's part of the spirit. Maybe I should just watch The Sopranos. It is on my list of stuff I want to watch someday. Maybe they're gonna get me into it. Maybe we'll see a stunning performance. And whoever can convince me. You know what?
If they win tonight,
if they
we're
win
all
a map,
flicking on Sopranos.
If they win a map, I'll binge the show over the next couple of weeks. Let's say it like that.
All right, we've heard it. Lock it in. Now, let me start you off by saying that the map picks tonight are a bit more exotic than usual because we've been getting a lot of gully washes and whatnot in our little map pools and maybe a bit of like products. But we've actually managed to finally get a bagel into the fold. This could be MANDEM kind of practicing in a way, kind of shaping up for that Poland LAN on the horizon that every single team, I'm pretty sure, is going to be turning up to. I think that's playing this season, so that's going to be interesting.
Not all of them. And the Pearls are definitely not going, and I don't know if this Sopranos team is actually attending in this fashion either. I don't remember. But MANDEM certainly are, and a lot of other top contenders are, and Witness obviously are, who aren't playing, and they are Bagel, kind of like King of the Hill, actually, specialists in a way. So, maybe getting some practice in there. Because realistically, obviously excluding the American teams that are, at least to an extent, kind of an X factor, because we don't know how exactly they're going to measure up against the European teams that aren't Witness, because we haven't seen them play against the other European teams. But MANDEM is, like, clearly the second best team in Europe, and potentially the best if they somehow can take the fight to Witness, right? These players have always been constantly improving, and I hazard to say there's chances that they could at least make it close against Witness, so maybe they could make it close against the Americans, and I think that's probably what most of these players are aiming for, right?
Right, well, these teams are actually getting started. We didn't get really a chance to go through the entire roster one by one. These teams are itching to get their Week 6 game going. It is our first map here on CP Process. This is the map pick for the Sopranos. Let's see if they can take it away against the mighty MANDEM, who is playing off in the first seed of the ETF2L so far. Take us away, sir. What's happening on mid?
It's a Titan that has to be felled, and it starts with the mid fight. That's careful and methodical for both teams. The Mole going with a bomb behind, but both these teams are kind of just rotated. That is a happy left to his own devices on the point, though. A demo fragged onto the side of the Sopranos, and that kind of just tears apart this mid fight already for them. They really have to try and make something happen here. Fancy surfs away the damage. Wonderfully, Balder gets onto the medic as well, and the team just crumbles from that. They couldn't even get a single frag outside of Ryan, who I'm sure just bombed in and got picked up by scouts. So realistically, that's all you can settle for. Rutu couldn't even trade out for Zoe either. It's a last hold in the making for Sopranos here, and a full Uber one at that, because June already has. Fancy's already ready to spawn camp as well, so they really got to try and lock in for this one if they want to have a chance of not losing the round right now.
Did you know that Demo Man can't really jump? Well, at least not on mid, anyways. Demo Men tend to kind of just walk and waddle about. So when they throw those two soldiers into the places they did on mids, they kind of basically locked out Happy on where he wanted to go, and thus the easy mid.
Very unfortunate indeed, and the last push already underway, but crucially, they aren't actually doing all that well on MANDEM. They lost Boulder. The Uber's kind of gone to waste. They got one frag move on Ryuchu, but they're just getting on the point. So what am I even talking about? Apparently nobody on the side of Sopranos really felt the need or pressure to get onto that point at any point, and yeah, that's the first round down the drain. But to be fair, it was a full Uber disad, so I don't think you can blame him necessarily. GG go next. It's a quick first round for MANDEM.
It's fine. Speaking of this, look, it's just one round. It's only been like less than 2 minutes, but I can see why they picked the process map. Basically, this is a map that everybody knows like the back of their hand. We're not going against like who can outstrat each other here. It's about who can kind of execute best, and usually these youngsters, that's where they have their strengths here, executing. Speaking of which, Black has been executed.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Washbody's also gone, and there goes Salty. The team is crumbling. Hampy gets taken out. Rutu, they're desperately trying to escort his Robert medic out here, but Fancy's already cut them off, and that's another wipe. Crucially, though, at least they got June in response, right? On that mid fight, who... I didn't really mention it, or try to realize who got it, but somebody killed June, which means there's no Uber ad for MANDEM to work with. They actually opted to run the crits as a, I guess, an unorthodox strat to see if they can get away with something here, given that with both medics dying, it should still be an advantage with the crits. Into last, it's a curious one. You don't see that very often, but I mean, if there's a team that can make it work, it's probably one that's, you know, if the skill gap is this big, potentially, then maybe they can make it work anyway.
Yeah, I like the switch up from Sopranos, just kind of changing the methodology of what you want to achieve on mid. I think they went for a straight up basic mid on the first one, where they were saying, let's see if we can just kind of, you know, inch our little plays and see if we can win out these little skirmishes. But instead now it was about just going for the medic first and seeing if we could get Robert out. Sadly, they couldn't get Robert out. Fancy put work to that, but it was a nice, I can see the idea.
Oh, that's a huge one already. 2 players with just 1 stick. No, crucially not the medic. At the very least, Robert did live, but he's got to get that Uber ready as well, and he's only got 2 players to use it on. One of them an engineer who's, well, got a couple of crits ready, I guess, but he's not going to be doing all that much.
Oh,
and,
no,
yeah,
we've dropped our Critcheneer.
Oh, no.
And, yeah, they do have a solo YOLO Uber on Black, keeping the point defender, but they're just skirting the edges for now and just toying with them. Demon finally puts the nail into that medic coffin, and Black is going to follow him up, but they have wasted a lot of time here over on MANDEM.
Nah.
And they are getting respawners back. Salty's going to come back as heavy weapons guy. This is usually a really annoying class to deal with when it starts rolling out slowly from the respawn, but not enough time really for that heavy weapons guy have impact. It's 2-0.
Yeah, it kind of just crumbles from there. MANDEM kiting that Uber well enough, you know, getting them the grounds where they need to. It's a second round, not as quick this time, but it has been less than 5 minutes, and they have 2 on the board. You know, going into this, I was thinking this might be a 2-mapper that is over in less than 30 minutes.
Well,
and at this rate...
I was going to say, like, well, at least they're changing things up. Everyone's surprised. They've got the crits out, but I lie. It's actually MANDEM who have got the crits out early, and they're sticking with it.
It's interesting. I mean, they're trying to some strats. You know, you don't often get to workshop strats as much when you're going up against like extremely difficult teams, right? Clearly they're being very confident right now. I'm not trying to downplay the Sopranos. They're very confident right now. They had a bit more of a confident mid on the side of the Sopranos, mind you. Robert did almost die, but they didn't lose everybody. They're having this under control a little bit better, even if they lost the mid again. They are on second. They have to deal with the crit scout in their face, but Boulder is only getting a couple of players with it. Crucially again, the rest of the team, well, at least tried to escape for a while. Could have gone better, could have gone worse. They probably weren't ready for the crits to be in play again, but you know, we can see the Sopranos slowly warming up. They're getting something done with these mid-fights. They're not completely losing. Rutu trying to fight Zoe, losing ever so slightly. Black, the sole defender for Blast, obviously, with everybody else that, yeah, not necessarily going all that well, but as to be what we've seen for the past 5 minutes, so it's not necessarily something new.
Certainly, I'm going to level with you. I'm handling this game with kid gloves right now. I don't want to start kicking sand in the eyes of the poor Sopranos. And I see them, they're looking a bit sheepish, is a nice way of putting it. They're a bit playing maybe a little bit scared. They're a bit intimidated by the first seed, this MANDEM squad. Look at all those names, and I think they're playing a bit disjointed because of that. And you'll find a lot of players, they're just happy to survive for the first few minutes, not really pulling off a maneuver together. But this mid is already looking better.
Yeah, they got some initiative. That's a big bomb in. Black manages to at least get some damage down. They find Zoe and Boulder. Sure, they're losing a couple players on their own side. Crucially, Robert did go down, but there's a nice flank out of Washbody. Can he actually land the rockets though? Not quite. Fancy June doing too much of a job dodging. It's only the scouts left alive. They have to worry about just Ryan and Fancy. I say as they're, you know, gonna be doing everything in their power to keep June safe here, but it is coordinated aggression. Nice pincer. Get that medic out of the equation. That is a saving grace.
He's got no ammo. He's a scared little boy, but it's a fancy boy. So we're going to back out and just play it safe here.
Got the mid too as well, so they're going to get some forward spawns here. This is actually a nice position for the Sopranos to be in. For the first time, this map, they are actually in the driver's seat. Ever so slightly, at least. Got a bit of an Uber out to work with. Now they just have to keep it clean. Keep the mental in it. Keep it all in check and make sure nothing slips through. And you might just have yourself a chance of rolling this forward even further. But they got to make sure that June doesn't build too fast because she's already catching up. It's going pretty fast. Robert's not building nearly as fast right now, and I think Sopranos maybe a bit paralyzed with the choice. They're not used to the situation. They haven't been here yet.
Yeah, it can sound a bit demeaning a little bit, but I think they'll be focusing a little bit on just like pulling on. Okay, so they're going to go for the Hail Mary Demoman jump in second. A very nice bomb gets a double kill on both of the soldiers, and they're going to keep chasing this in.
That's a nice little position there for Happy to be in. Beautifully done. Both soldiers out of the equation. Now there's an Uber on the other side, obviously, so they have to kite this well. Robert might get caught. Does get caught, unfortunately. But all things considered, actually, no, he doesn't get caught. Sorry, that was not him dying. My bad. I just saw somebody die in the corner of my eye. It wasn't actually him. Does actually escape for the time being. Black is there to maybe try and back him up as well. Ryan is there, though, to chase it out, and ultimately he does go down. So it is going to be a disset play. It was a bit of initiative there out of Sopranos. It was going well for a bit. Rutu with a forward spawn, unfortunately, just gets shut down, and I don't think Happy's going to get anything out of that either. She's probably going to have to actually die. Didn't well, with the back spawn. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think the spirit of what they were trying to do, which was force the Uber out, was correct, but I think they just need to realize that any moment that defensive scared Uber could turn into an aggressive turn, and it was a very nice turn by MANDEM to actually get as much frags and much damage and kind of input with that Uber to say how little manpower they had at the time.
Yeah, they did with what they did work with what they had. Salty now on the sniper on last, seeing if he can maybe turn the tides here a little bit, maybe hold off this push a little bit. Nice little headshot there onto the mole. Is certainly going to slow him down ever so slightly, having to get that soldier back up to health. Unfortunately, they pop before they turn the corner, so you're not getting that mid or anything out of the equation. Sticky's been cleared off the point as well. Boulder already just edging the cap. It's a lot of cap time. They really got to worry about this, but the Uber has faded, and if they can keep this clean, keep this heavy, ready, and healthy as well, get some players on that point, they might just have a chance to hold this. Unfortunately, the heavy gets focused down eventually, though, and that is where it crumbles. That is MANDEM picking up a fourth round. That is, yeah, they're on match point.
That was a very hard situation. They had the right idea, Sopranos, kind of rotating these soldiers quite nicely, might I add, to block that point and keep them going. But there was not really much like skirmishing. There was not much fighting. They were mainly just like blocking the point, and that was it. Nobody was really like critical or low or in danger. And sadly, that's kind of your soldier's job as well as blocking the pointers. As on top of that.
And now for what could be the final mid-fight of Process already, unless the Sopranos really put the fight up now. Another... Oh
Okay.
my god! So say another nice bomb out of Black there potentially, but he just got absolutely denied. Anti-air. Jesus Christ. At least they still got June with the follow-up bomb anyway, even if it is a wipe that you have to pay with for that frag. It might be a saving grace. It might keep them in the round ever so slightly longer. But it is still a nasty situation to be in regardless, having to hold your last again potentially. Unless MANDEM fear, unless they are patient. And you know what? Fancy being overextended. That's a thing that happens quite a lot. And for once, he got punished for it.
I think if they're committing to this idea of like we want to just kind of dogpile on June and get the medic advantage going, they probably need to put more thought in where they want to place Robert when they are playing these mid fights. Robert's in there. He's on like the grass area. He's practically on the point, and these makes it kind of easy fodder for these soldiers to kind of come in as well. They're almost backstabbing the lad, as to say that he has to keep himself alive to gain said advantage from killing June. He's going to be the first target when the med goes down.
Very, very unfortunately so. There's the crits coming out of the play again. Unfortunately, Sticky doesn't quite find anything fancy. Not getting much done with this one this time around, and all they really find is a cleanup kill on a bombing Warsh body. And, well, Black is also pretty low, actually, on the flank. And they find Robert somehow as Ryan just bombs right in. Gets that done, regardless. If all else fails, just rely on your soldier, on your roamer to bomb on in, clear that one out. And I don't know actually if Ryan is still playing roamer for them or if he's back onto pocket. They switch that around all the time. I'd assume he's roaming because he tends to do that. Last hold now for the Sopranos once more, and well, it's looking okay. They got a couple of frags, so they should be able to at least hold these MANDEM players off for a little bit.
Kritzkrieg is a wonderful weapon for kind of exposing these inexperienced teams that haven't had too much familiarity with each other. It puts you in a place where you're not used to playing regular TF2. There's not many times you see a Kritzkrieg get whipped out in all your, say, Div 1 games and whatnot. Everyone's playing super serious all the time, and we will never see a crit.
Speaking of, there's another one. A snipe across the point doesn't quite find the target. That one will at least clean up a soldier, but that's about it, unless this one can find... Nope, not quite onto the sniper either, so... Another crits that didn't really get anything, but at the very least, they're not losing much for it either, because it's not like the Sopranos are going to push out anytime soon. It's a soldier for a soldier traded at the end of the day, but one of them has double the respawn time, and is still far from respawning, so they don't have to fear anything. They can just go right again, have fun with it. Maybe another attempt, maybe send in a crit scalpel one, see what works, right? You just got to take care of that sentry first, and I feel like the soldiers are going to get on that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, this is the hardest part for crits to break, is the last point. Almost
out.
They've Ubered straight out. I guess they wanted to get proactive. I've seen this happen a few times now in this post map. They like using them, the Uber proactively over on Sopranos, but they've not managed to stick the targets. This is why you don't really see too many people go for it in Europe. It's more of an American thing.
And here's the crits again, and that time it finds a target. Happy will be taken down, and now the rest of the team's gonna get cut off immediately as well. Robert eats a lot of damage, just about escapes. Nice pipe! Onto Salty there from Fancy as well. That's going to make it even harder to try and hold this when you only have 3 players. Make it to a scout. Solely trying to be healed by his medic here. Second isn't capped yet. That's the one thing maybe saving the Sopranos for a little bit, but this point is surely going to turn blue any second now. A couple of players still trying their damnedest to get them off the point, and they're somehow finding a lot of frags. They're not finding all of them. And eventually MANDEM will win 5-0. I hazard to say most people did not expect that. Or much rather, did not expect that to be any different. But hey, good effort actually by the Sopranos. I'll be honest. I'm down talking a little bit, but there were some good efforts in there. Given the caliber that they're going up against here, they're not doing too terribly.
Yeah, MANDEM playing with the food. I know it's really harsh to say, but I do hope Sopranos do focus on the positives and and like the fights won and like what worked, kind of like a taster of showing that, look, if we coordinate certain plays and how we approach certain fights, you know, these teams do bleed, they do die, they do go down and all this. It was pretty crafty of MANDEM to kind of bring out the crits, because it just puts inexperienced teams in these situations that they have no experience working with each other. You could tell there the last kind of push from second, where you had some members of Sopranos jumping into the crits, some were opting to just leave and depart from the crits instead. Two valid tactics to deal with the crits, but not very valid when they're both done in the same time.
Yeah, and ultimately We now just have to see how Bagel will change. This is MANDEM's pick. I doubt the, importance, the essence of how much it matters, which team picked what here. We always talk about, oh, this was this team's pick and this was that team's pick, and then most of the time, it doesn't really matter, right? Sometimes we might just have teams be confident and wanting to try something, and maybe, because we haven't really seen the Sopranos team or much what they're capable of, maybe they're insane at Bagel. Maybe they're Bagel specialists, like to an insane, absurd degree, and they're gonna fell the Titans right now, right? Could always happen.
I mean, it'd be pretty wild to think of themselves as the Bagel Titans and then not pick it. I think they had the first choice of pick in the pick and
Maybe they were
bans.
so confident that they were like, they're not gonna ban this.
But I think you've got some rhyme and reason about your logic. Like sometimes you can discover that you're very good at these maps all of a sudden, where you just play out a map and then you just go, oh my god, we're actually pretty good at this, who knew? And it wasn't until you try it in like an official setting that you kind of find these details. Sometimes all it takes is like a really bad scrim night on a map and you just write yourself off pretty early on these, when all you just needed was a couple of hard learned lessons from those scrims, and then like you maybe have something to craft into something tangible into your repertoire. So who knows, this could be a bit of soul searching here for the Sopranos if they were a bit worried about this Bagel map.
Who do you think on the Sopranos team would be Tony? That's the only character I know from the Sopranos. Who's Tony?
Who is Tony?
Who's got the most Tony-like personality characteristics from their gameplay? That's the only way you can judge in.
The only person I've really interacted with from this team is Salty, and Salty's nice. So because Salty's so nice, I don't think it's good Tony. Tony is an evil person from the show, like a pretty, well, I mean, they're all pretty bad people from The Sopranos, but yeah, I don't know. I wish this is just as much as a new impression to me as it is to everybody else in the Prem season, I think, for these players. But I have hopeful eyes that maybe a Tony will rise out of them.
Maybe take the initiative and become the boss after all.
Oh yeah,
perhaps. Okay, I mean, Bagel. Let's talk about Bagel a bit. I like this map. I really like this map. I'm happy it exists because, and I always say this, for years all we ever saw was Viaduct, and now we finally have a second Koth map that people don't hate, which is as that brings me joy because I like Koth. It's a fun game mode, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think what was to the success of Bagel is it is trying to be very different. It's going for a different scratch or a different sort of objective compared to Viaduct, or how you want to play the map. Whilst classically a lot of old King of the Hill maps were just trying to be Viaduct 2, Electric Boogaloo. What about if we just do this? And you're still trying to make sure you I mean, yes, it does have forward holds and all this some stuff Bagel, but more about just playing off your respawn advantages and all that jazz, and just areas of denial and keeping all of this. But I think that it's a bit more segmented on Bagel as well. It's multifaceted as well with the houses, whilst Viaduct, it can kind of feel like, okay, everybody, we're all going to conclude and look at this one little patch of ground.
Yeah, that said, enough about Viaduct. Bagel has started. The teams are keen to go, and the first round is a go, but the point will wait a little bit before it can be capped, so it's going to be the classic stare off, spam across the point, find yourself some positioning that Koth always opens with, and the first frag may very well be decisive. There's lots of early positioning being taken in the houses here by the Sopranos on either side. Unfortunately, they're spreading themselves a little thin as well, and Salty goes low, lives for the time being. Ryan has slipped in behind in the meantime. Actually, no, he hasn't. That's his side. My bad. And early point capture is going to come out of the side of MANDEM with a player dying either side. Lots of pressure trying to be put onto the Sopranos combo here as well. Robert just narrowly escaping for now, and they're dealing with it well enough on the side of Sopranos with that aggression. They're getting it out of the way. Not have to worry about too much now. It's just Zoe and Fancy as the DPS cost is alive, and if they can dispatch these easily or just deal with the Uber exchange better, this might just be a nice position for them to be in. But respawners are going to be coming in soon as well, and as these Ubers fade, that positioning is going to be crucial as to how they approach the rest of this fight. The point flips in favor of the Sopranos. It's a very quick cap, but we'll have to see how long they can hang on to it for as well.
Yeah, the Sopranos are benefiting from Robert just kind of being really difficult to get taken down. Ryan got an easy flank, but couldn't find the easy kill, sadly. And because of that, they had the man advantage, could force out the Ubers, and just now continue the man advantage to win back this point constantly against MANDEM. But MANDEM, they're doing really well by just like using their Uber smartly, knowing when to pop it, and kind of extend this timeout, and just chip away at them with these 5 seconds, 10 seconds here.
Ever so slightly, but it does also flip the spawners. Ryan had a very long respawn there, so Sopranos giving themselves an opportunity to come back out here. As MANDEM now solidify their hold a little bit, have a bit more of a presence, it's going to be harder for them to get through. They have to pop quite early, trying to get across. They're not really getting any force out of June either. Rutu not being able to chase, getting juggled around. Maybe they can at least get some frags on the side. No, he's just getting destroyed by Ryan in the house. You hate to see it. Very unfortunate. And it's a wasted Uber, wasted situation. Black, nice little bomb in, but June does not pop for those. Oh my god. And you see a soldier exploding in the sky before June finally gets arrowed down by Robert of all people. What is happening?
I guess they were going for like a suicide wave. Let's just all in on June and see if we can keep Robert alive. But again, Robert is not in the nicest position to kind of keep himself alive. So he's going to go down, but they will have a bit of a respawn advantage just by the ipso factor that they are losing right now, King of the Hill. And there's a mixture of like a lot of respect and no respect being come out from the Sopranos here at very various times. Sometimes it's kind of a sucker punch, usually going for the unexpected. Sometimes it's just, I don't know what some of these players think they can pull off, 5 versus 1.
And so far, they're doing all right. They've got themselves in a nice position. Now Sopranos at least hold for a bit. Unfortunately, they already trade out a soldier either side. It's good for time to get out of there if you're the Sopranos. You cannot really continue this hold. Black goes down as well. Zoe low, but will live. And yeah, they have to really try and hold this normally now, especially with that Uber so close. You do not want Robert getting into a dangerous position now. You want to hold this for as long as you can before now maybe trying to go for the exchange. You know you have Ad. June is not in a position to use just yet. Fancy might just get caught as well. No, narrowly escapes. They found both scouts. That's about it with the Uber. Now they have to worry about this Uber coming back in out of the MANDEM players who have done a very good job at kiting it on the other side. And they are just burning a little bit more time off the clock, but surely this is not going to be a long hold. Unless they get really early force out of June, they really have to be careful about this outside of Sopranos.
That was an unnecessary death there from the but they're going to keep Salty hidden in main, seeing if they can get kind of a easy 2-shot onto June, and there we go, 1-2.
Nice.
Quite get the kill, but does get the 4. So and they've got Robert in a nice defended space as well. They're rotating around. This is going well.
Yeah, they're playing this nicely. That's well done. The timers are almost equal as well, so have a nice opportunity to come back out at this with the Ubers disconnected as well. Unless they get caught in a terrible position here. With Fence already spamming down that side wall, it's not looking like they're in a great position yet on the side of Sopranos. They're really being careful here. They lose Salty as well. Happy takes a lot of damage trying to get out. Eventually they muscle their way through here though. And if they can use this Uber effectively this time around, maybe there's a chance for them as they pop it across the point. June kind of caught out in no man's land. There you go. That's the medic taking out of the equation. Ryan goes down as well. It's a nice position to be in. They just have to clean up these struggling players and make sure Robert lives, which he does not. Very unfortunately. And they couldn't get the cap time either. So at this point, this push is starting to look like MANDEM might just be holding it. It's only Zoe left alive, but they still have to get the point, and with only 20 seconds left on the clock, Zoe also just 2-shotting Salty doesn't make it any easier. Okay, doesn't actually die. It's a dire situation to be in, because even if they flip this point now, they got most of their spawners, but now they're just going to have to deal with this MANDEM spawn wave coming immediately.
I think they're going for these sort of checkmate scenarios over on Sopranos. They want to get the big med pick and then keep their medic alive, but the MANDEM are not going to give these kills up very easily. Usually if they do lose June, it's going to be a high cost, and they know that they can just collapse in and just take these fights one by one. And medics can be a little bit overrated in the game in TF2. They will get the pick onto Fancy. That's a nice kill and to equalize out Happy's death, but they will just claim that point back just as easily. See, they're not even all about taking the initial kills here over on MANDEM. It's more about just gaining control of the point back.
Yeah, they project so much presence over that point. Again, you mentioned in the last map as well, Sopranos maybe still being a bit too respectful, a bit too fearful at times, and giving them too much space, because they could have fought there. They had an Uber ready, potentially, but oh well. A decent first round on it though. I mean, look at the clock. They didn't, sit back and let nothing happen. They did all right.
Yeah, there's some positives out of this. I'm going to shout out Rutu for having some of these solo YOLO Scout Ubers and actually being able to press the S key at a moment. What makes a Scout Uber so good is you get that sort of concentrated fire, easy, first pick off on somebody, and then just play the fight from there, from like backing out and just kind of resetting a little bit. There was moments where it was very tempting to just go into 3 players with the tail end of that Uber and see if you can just find more, but he's showing some restraint here. But sadly, I can't really say the same for Sopranos soldiers.
Yeah, they need to step up their game perhaps a little bit. So far, so good, though. They found Demol as an early frag trade out for 2 players, though, on the other side. That's effectively the flank taken care of. And Ryan managed to slip in as well. Gets the drop onto Robert, even. Couldn't quite pop it off in time. June gets forced on the other side, though, so at least there's some kind of saving grace here. With the point just now going the way of MANDEM. I mean, sure, the timer's going to start ticking down, but there's plenty of opportunities for them to get right back in this right away and surely have another chance at just pressing onto this point. They have better spawners. They might have an opportunity to just catch somebody off, like Zoe getting caught in main, for instance. It's going to make things a little bit easier. Unfortunately, Happy just immediately walks into Fancy Sticky Trap, so that puts a wrench into those plans and might just spell doom for this push as Woj goes down. There goes Rutu as well, and Sackwave is not accomplishing anything beyond this point.
Yeah, traditionally, the soldiers are usually the first one to poke their head through the door. Not only do they get the advantage of a 300 health pool to kind of first jump in, but they also can just kind of burst past the stickies, call out that the stickies are there, clear them possibly even. But no, they just instead wanted to keep their soldiers alive and take the fight with them instead, and you can see how that worked out.
Yeah, it didn't quite go their way that time. Rutu trying to snipe there for a minute, but yeah, it's not a great angle to work with when you're getting this much spam hurled at you, so try it the other way. You don't have an Uber either to worry to deal with much rather, so you gotta just kite this MANDEM one somehow, and they're just almost spawn camping at this point. It's kind of disrespectful, really. Robert crucially stayed in spawn, keeps himself safe for now, doesn't have to worry about any more on their way, and MANDEM know when to quit as well. Even if they have extraordinarily far forward. I don't think I've ever seen a team hold this far forward on Bagel. But if the Sopranos are giving them the space, giving them the turf for now, then they gotta work with it. I guess with the Ubers disconnected, they are fancying themselves a chance to get something here. They have to use so early just to deal with Fancy, for that matter, and that's all they get. They had an overextended demo who, well, did that on purpose, basically, just to slow them down. Find the Mool as well, but traded out for Salty, and now they gotta get on that point soon, because they haven't put a single second off their timer yet.
Well, fortunately, Fancy is a big pick in the game, even though it was just the only pick they could find with that Uber. I think it was just maybe preemptive, worried about the entire team of MANDEM hiding around the corner, but it was just Fancy. They will trade out here, so it's not the worst death of Woj I've ever seen, but look, you can already see them edging the point here. This is what MANDEM have been kind of pulling off all game, and then when they actually decide to turn up and defend over on Sopranos, they want to kind of do this wrap-round play with Ryan and Demol, but these bombs haven't been great for MANDEM to say like this is the creme de la creme of Prem right now. They've just been, but it's fine. Everyone beats Rockets sometimes in the game of TF2.
Okay, dude. Happy's doing a good job holding down the concrete side here. Might just pay with his life. Another nice pipe there as well. Will Live gets saved by his medic, and this could actually be a good Uber. Yeah, they're chasing this deep. If they can find anything more with this, they're just delaying even longer. Okay, the Ubers are going to disconnect. They can't quite get onto June either, but still, it's not the biggest disad in the world to play around, and with the spawners just waiting a little bit longer, they at least get some more time off their point. And again, as you mentioned, the Sopranos doing an okay job holding these Bagel points from time to time, so maybe this is the situation they want to be in, a little bit further back, and more on their turf. There you go, they find Demol and Ryan again. The soldiers taken care of on their side. Unfortunately, they also lose Happy and Black though, and it's just an all-out war at this point with another soldier behind. They need to really deal with Woj at this point. They eventually find him, but it took 3 players. It took a village to get rid of that guy. Eventually, they find Salty. They do get the point as well, but they've saved a lot of time for the side of the Sopranos, getting that disad out of the way with as little of a casualty as possible. Crucially, they keep Robert in this. They don't have to worry about that as much, and if they can get through this forward hold again, they might just have a chance at a nice Uber fight.
Yeah, they've got the... it was a nice play from Woj, keeping himself alive as long. It was just very costly, I think, just holding onto that area of the point. They are going to take the initiative and start using the Uber charge in. They just want to get
Oh my God.
God, that is a very, very obnoxious hold from June. And, well, she's going... I mean, it's maybe like a... not the most consequential drop in the world. I guess they have only 2 seconds left on the clock. They've got plenty of time to revert this back if it does go all tits up, and it has. So, it's just playing for greed, I guess.
It's ambitious hold by June. Probably not expecting Ruto to actually hit the shot for once, and you get punished. Get punished for your greed, and here they are, the Sopranos back in control. Timer about 80 seconds to go through. It's not the hardest thing to do. A good hold here would certainly put them on the map already, and with the big Uber ad they have as well, as long as these sacks don't go the way of MANDEM, they might just have a chance actually winning the round as well. Unfortunately, they find black, so that's going to open things up nicely for Dummel to already get in behind as well. His entire team is in front of him. He's got one player chasing him down, but if he can just get onto that combo from behind, it's going to be such a crucial bomb. There it is. He gets onto Robert, gets one rocket, can't quite get the second one though. Robert holds respectfully. You love to see it. Eventually has to use though as the second soldier comes across with damage, but will it be enough with this Uber to just try and chase out these players? They don't quite find the frag. Actually, they go fancy. All right, they hold him off for a little bit longer now. 40 seconds, more or less.
Yeah, it's going to be a real test now.
Yeah, hold this Uber with it. Okay, okay.
It's possible, but they need to find a way to kind of see if they can find pickoffs at the door. Like, maybe not so much like forcing the Uber out of June, but more like see if we can get a cheeky kill like that. Just like that, getting these little picks, making these Ubers already like asking for a lot here, and this kill onto Ryan is going to again make another difficult
as well.
Uber. Boulder now has to do a lot of work here to justify this Uber charge, and Robert with a nice serve. This is going absolutely pear-shaped for poor MANDEM, and I guess the greed is kind of really biting them in the butt. Look, they've managed to push it all the way to a round.
There you go, a round out of the Sopranos. They have actually done it. They've picked a round off of MANDEM, which is more than some teams have done this season so far. That is quite the performance. They have locked in for this round of Bagel. Now, part of it might just be MANDEM misplaying as well, but you never know, right? You can always look at it both ways. They pick themselves up a round. They're still in this. They don't want this to be over just yet, and we'll have to see if MANDEM are just going to let this be a little stumbling stone, or if maybe there's something deeper afoot. Maybe there's something else wrong. Maybe more than one player is having an off day today and just not really hitting what they need to be hitting, at least on Bagel, for it to be a sweep like you'd expect. As the third round unfolds before our very eyes, points still locked, nobody quite dying just yet, nobody taking too much of an initiative. Eventually, Captain being put down on the side of MANDEM, but it's only so much, and it goes away very quickly as well, so you gotta really stick that out if you want to. Eventually, Ruto will be the first to fall. It took forever to get somebody down. Black will be soon to fall into the respawn queue, and it looks like that's enough for the Sopranos to give up the point for now, recollect themselves, and try not to lose harder.
Everyone's got a plan A in this world, Cerny, but not everybody has a plan B. They went for the house play with the flank over on Sopranos. It didn't really net a kill, and I appreciate them in trying to wrap around across the point from that house position, see if they can find the kill onto point. But then they couldn't find anything either, so it was actually plan C, where Ruto was just kind of scratching their head and wondering, well, what is there to do now? And just hung about, and then that was like an easy pick for MANDEM to start picking apart and focusing when Ruto didn't really need to hang about there after that plan A and B failed.
I see chat already debating whether Zoe dies to that rocket that we're seeing in the pause right now. As we get like, oh no, he lives, wow, okay. Impressive. The pause, unpause coming through a couple of times. But a pause that short, it probably was not a tack pause. Somebody probably just crashed or lagged for a brief moment, and here we are back with the action already. We'll have to see how the Sopranos come to respond to this now, right? They gave up the first point, but crucially kept themselves in a nice position, actually trying to use their Uber now through. Unfortunately, it doesn't find much ground, let alone a frag, and that's kind of a zoning Uber at best, and unfortunately they didn't zone him enough, so now they have to worry about the counter coming out of MANDEM at some point, if there even is one, because Sopranos are kind of scared. They know that this is a bad situation to be in already, and unless they can get onto June, which Wodge is trying, but immediately getting denied for, can't even trade out. It's a point flipped in their favor, but one they have to immediately give up again.
Yeah, everyone's playing a bit scared, and it's easy to see why. It's just this Uber charge is ready to pop off at any moment, and I think the threat of the Uber charge was like solace and no alone for MANDEM. I'm pretty sure they're almost trying to go for the rest of the game without using the Uber.
I mean, that would be quite something, right? That would be an accomplishment. It's only a King of the Hill round. Those don't tend to be as long, but I guess, like on average, but I guess, you know, it's an achievement to go for potentially. Purely winning off of aura, off of pressure. I suppose it can happen. But all it takes is one soldier or maybe something else slip into it. Okay, yeah, this is probably where the pause came through because it looks like Salty crashed. This is probably where it happened. And there we go. This is where the unpauses come through as well. I'm sure we'll see him back in the server. There you go. Alright. So that's what it was. Not a bad situation to crash in, I suppose. You're already basically holding back anyway in a situation where you're not going to push out or do much, so not much is lost, I suppose. You maybe lost 10 seconds of time at best. Now, how do the Sopranos get back out of this? How do they break this hold? A bomb might be it.
Happy is trying to go behind and straight on top of June, but I don't think they could find her, and instead they will get a pick onto Zoe, and those kind of bombs, they're very telegraphing that they just want to find you. They are very costly. They cost. You're not going to win much in the big picture. You're not going to keep yourself alive. You are just going for a better trade, and the only trade you can really go for right now is maybe getting the June drop. Because even I think a June Uber is still not good enough because you've just bought so much time from just the threat or the wasting time of using. And June's going to pop now, but they've also, this is just a response to the Uber of the Sopranos. And now, what does the Sopranos do in the aftermath? This is where the weakest has been, but they find the fancy kill, so this is going strong so far. Black is in a nice position to kind of lay down some fire. Not many people backing them up though on these picks. I think they've got too much on their own plate in the meantime, and they're looking a bit fragmented, whilst MANDEM, they're already resetting.
Still, in these post-super fights, Sopranos are looking pretty clean on Bagel. They are finding the frags when they need to after the Zubas have faded and getting the pressure down. There's another crash out of Salty. I guess he's really having a bad internet day, I suppose, and maybe they're just, you know, not even bothering with a pause at this point. It is mid-fight at the end of the day, I suppose, and they're still trying to hang in this some way, somehow, with one player down. Well, make it 3 technically, considering Black and Happy have both died as well, and the timer might just run out for MANDEM at this point. It is a very unfortunate situation to be in, and considering we haven't gotten another pause, I guess Salty just finds his way back in by the time the next round starts, but that is that is quite unfortunate, isn't it? Having your player lag out a lot, probably not the best when you're trying to at least put up a fight.
Yeah, I think it justifies why Rutu is not so much backing up his demo man on point. He's got a lot of jobs to play right now. He's the only one that's keeping Robert alive against anybody that's going to jump in, and I assure you, Demul and Ryan have been giving the go of it. They've not been always finding fruit, but they've been certainly going for the picks.
Well, match point now for the side of MANDEM. Certainly not out of the game just yet for the side of Sopranos. If they, well, first of all, Salty's internet can lock in, but also if they can get another round like they did before, it's certainly possible for them to keep themselves in this. Maybe even win the map if they really string together a incredible series of gameplay. So far, so good. They find the first frag onto Ryan. Lots of damage. Eventually do find Woj on the response side though, and gonna be onto this point pressure eventually.
This is good.
Yeah, they find the mole as well. All right.
Yeah, they Woj just kind of punishing that play from Ryan and MANDEM, making the play into the house. Got a lot of good damage. That was 3 players all occupying the same space, and fortunately his team did back him up as well from going in onto that point. They get the force out of June, and now it isn't an easy way to get access to this point. They're going a bit overzealous though. They haven't got control of the houses. This is why you want to keep control of these houses before you make a push across like that, Cerny. You could get attacked from 3 different angles when you make that sort of push. The front, the side, and, well, the other side.
Yeah, and they just got completely crammed with that fancy spawn camping as well, killing both scouts, and doesn't look like Black is going to put a stop to it anytime soon. Happy's trying his best.
He's making Happy overextend as well. And, they really want to chase.
Oh my god, this is so disrespectful out of MANDEM. So much of a spawn camp. Eventually, at least they cleaned Fancy up, but like, good god, what a disrespectful thing to be in. At the end of the day, the timers are still pretty equal, so I guess it doesn't matter too much. all that really amounts to is a 50% disad, and without the demo, this hold isn't going to be too hard to bust through. Well, if they move fast enough, that is.
They're taking too long. They're taking. Look at Fancy. He's already rise back. And they're going to come back in now. They've actually used the Uber aggressively. I guess during all this chaos, they realized that they had the Uber charge a bit earlier than the rest of the Sopranos. But yeah, they were just taking a little bit too much time. I think there was a brief period where they could have got in there, got aggressive, whilst Fancy was still kind of waltzing up. But I think they were a bit worried about these people that were behind, already taking lobby. But if you think that's the problem, you can pick from any door. If there's no demo man, lobby or the big door are valuable options to be had.
Yeah, they could have just sent it and potentially had a chance there. Finding Zoe here might just open things up a little bit for them. Fancy being at least pressured back for a while as well. And June just gets bombed on. There you go. Black finds that kill. Beautifully done.
Robert's gone down to Ryan though.
Oh no. This could have been something great, but Robert goes down. Fancy now the sole man trying to make something still stickier for MANDEM. At the end of the day, he's just being basically a menace in the backline. The flank demo, you might just go for the spawn camp, because at this point, what else can you do? Oh, that's a lot of damage there already that you gotta worry about. Potentially, okay, only hit one sticky. Does get cleaned up. That was dicey for a minute, and the Sopranos probably lost a bit of time just by that. And eventually get the point back onto their control, but that's a lot of time difference to make up now, and they really have to stay in control of this for a while.
Well, they managed to get outside, though, over on MANDEM. That could have been a worry if they got locked a little bit at the door, but they were playing a bit sheepish, maybe not everybody in position. They do get a nice focus fire into Boulder, and kind of makes me wonder what he was waiting for. I guess he was waiting for these bombs out of D-Maul and Ryan. They do find the pick that they were looking for, but Boulder probably would have hoped that they came in a bit sooner. Fancy will be brought down, and the only saving grace they have is they're keeping June throughout all of these little exchanges, which they haven't really managed to replicate over on the Sopranos with Robert.
Yeah, they just can't quite mirror it, and now it's a big Uber ad for the side of MANDEM to get themselves back under control at this point, and with the timers still so much in their favor as well.
Oh,
it's going to be a big blow to Sopranos. Rutu going down early as well before the Ubers even need to be used whatsoever. Matter of fact, MANDEM again might just bully their way in here, which they kind of are. I mean, they're finding a few frags now. Robert, though, already taken down again, and at this point, they have no reason to use whatsoever. Unless Salty gets the craziest 3K of his life right now, which he doesn't. He just trades with them all.
A lot of question marks there. I don't know why we were occupying certain spots over on Happy, or all these players really just kind of hanging about. What was the plan?
Damn, Rutu actually slipping in here, doing a lot of damage to June. There's a soldier to follow up as well. Gets the force out. June not wanting to drop to fall damage. Respectable, I suppose, but that gets the Uber out of the equation. Maybe a chance, a glimpse of hope here for the Sopranos to get themselves back in a position, but again these MANDEM players so far forward already. Look at this.
Yeah, nobody's controlling lobby, and because nobody's watching lobby, look at this collapse. They come in from behind. They've got no health pack to play with over on Sopranos because they've already taken it from the behind, and I think a lot of the story of this entire game has been, or maybe even all of their games, actually, thinking back to process, is a bit about flank control. Whose job is it to kind of keep an eye on this flank? And when that flank player does die, who's the second person? Who else is going to step up and make sure that these weaknesses aren't taken advantage of by MANDEM?
Yeah, Sopranos looking a little disconnected, perhaps, at points there. But, hey, look, they are going up against a Titan as a team of, well, not a lot of Prem experience across the board, right? Compared to the caliber of players and champions, even Prem champions you have on side of MANDEM. So nobody's gonna blame them for losing 2 maps to the side of MANDEM. And matter of fact, they should really look at the stuff that they did well. You know, they won a round on Bagel, like that alone already, maybe a fluke, but like a good performance. And they had stuff there. That occasional moments where they did decently well on the side of Sopranos. So if they keep it up, keep developing, keep, getting better, they're going to be fighting. In a couple of seasons' time, we might see them somewhere else.
This might be a bit of overanalyzing from me, but when I saw the round go up for Sopranos, the next mid looked a lot more optimistic. You could see like almost like the mumble comms were flowing, like, hey guys, let's go for this play in the house, and they were being a lot more proactive. But when these losses start happening, you start playing a bit more defensive. It was more about like playing not to lose rather than playing to win, whilst they need to get, it looks like, the win on the board to kind of get the taste for it, and then they start being a bit more proactive. But it's hard to kind of nestle this mindset, almost like reset and take away these named players. I'm sure if they loaded up a game of TF2 and you couldn't see who you were playing, I'm pretty sure Sopranos would have played differently tonight.
Yeah, potentially. You can see the logs on your screen right now. I mean, it was a Bagel game. It was a back and forth, very aggressive Bagel game. So everybody did a lot of damage. Obviously, Fancy did a metric shit ton of it. It's a lot. But that's what he does. That's he's doing fancy things. What else is there to glean from this besides the fact that one team kind of just dominated a bit, you know?
June didn't go down too much at all. I think the only times
half the depths is quite the difference. Yeah.
The only time that June went down was basically tunnel vision from Sopranos. King of the Hill is very cruel and for fighting on this aspect. It's not so much like 5CP where you have multiple discs that you have to keep spinning and keep on top of, and you can lose your way a bit because you have to kind of turn on attack as well as defend, whilst it's a bit more like toggle on, toggle off for King of the Hill. So when you're defending, you literally have to sit there and just wait. And what are these waiting players going to do? They're probably going to keep an eye out for these flanking players or these players that are just trying to alley-oop past you to get on top of your medic. So it's really hard to pull off like these wonder jumps on top of the medic right in front of your enemy's eyes. The only time I think you could probably go for it, if I was to advise, if Sopranos even want to take my advice, is maybe the only person on the enemy team that should say you're there is the medic when you've literally on top of it. If anybody else has seen you or shot a bullet at you, you've been called. This is already 4 times harder than it needs to be. And then you need to switch up your tactics.
Sound advice. Well, I think that's it for this match, though. There's not much else to glean from it. The rough patch for the Sopranos, I guess, is something to look at there. May be coming to a close, at least. Their upcoming matches should start to be of easier caliber for the remainder of the season. Sure, there's still going to be teams that, at least on theory, should probably outmatch them, but they're not going to be as heavily outmatched as they have been tonight or in the previous matches, perhaps. And I think that's going to be some motivator as well, right? If they can keep up the momentum. Obviously, as teams go on in the season, they tend to improve as well, especially when they're newly formed or newcomers to Prem. So perhaps there's yet some points in it for them in the season. There are chances for them yet to be grabbed, and I wish them the best of luck as MANDEM, I guess, continues their crusade, because honestly, what do they have coming up? Is there going to be anything that can put up a fight against them at this point? Joey Guns, I guess, maybe in week 7.
I mean, there's still growth to be had, and there's always that meme of MANDEM can choke a little bit going into the playoffs.
They did do that one season where they went flawless in the regular season and then choked playoffs. So yeah, I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Anything can happen. Anything can be pulled out. These teams are still learning things about themselves. They're all, I think, a good portion of all of them are pretty fresh-faced. I don't think there's not many returning squads here that know each other and what they're capable of just yet. I think the only one that really knows this is maybe MANDEM, but even they have a couple of new members and like Demol and such. But who knows? We'll see. As I guess closing thoughts, that was a game of TF2. I wish Sopranos luck. I'm sure MANDEM had a little bit of fun with the crits as well, playing this game. Can't wait for more TF2.
Yeah, donate to Poland.tf so we can get you a stage to watch the games that we're going to be happening. You're going to be able to see MANDEM choke at LAN instead of choke online. Wouldn't that be fun to watch? I'm sure you're all really keen for that. And wouldn't it be fun to watch MANDEM choke while they're playing on a stage, more or less? Wouldn't that be even better?
With so many top teams going on hopefully a nice top stage, surely the statistics say that someone's going to choke.
Exactly. So if you want to contribute to that, !donate in chat or donate.poland.tf to help out your community event, biggest European TF2 LAN in a long time. you might want to contribute. It's always nice to do. If not, then oh well. At least you get to see something cool. You get to see cool teams. And then more TF2 tomorrow, as it is already on the screen of the schedule. Another match tomorrow night, and that's it from us, I suppose.
Yes. Goodbye.